Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. Look, 2020 has proven to be the year of many things, and the same for 2022. But if you're a small business, this could also be the year you switch to a better payroll. Gusto wasn't just built for small businesses, it was built for the people behind them. Their online payroll is easy to use. Gusto can automatically calculate paychecks and file all your payroll taxes, which means you have more time to run your business. Plus, Gusto does way more than payroll. Gusto helps with time tracking, health insurance, 401ks, onboarding, commuter benefits, offer letters, access to HR experts. You get the idea. It's super easy to set up and get started. If you're moving from another provider, they can transfer all your data for you. It's no surprise that 94% of customers are likely to recommend Gusto. And here's the best part. Because you're a listener to this podcast, you get 3 months totally free. All you have to do is go to gusto.com/compliance. That's gusto.com/compliance. I'm telling you, you're going to love Gusto. Get started today. The Daily Compliance News for October 20, 2021. The Credit Suisse settles yet again edition. And as reported by Harry Casson over at the FCPA Blog, Credit Suisse Group AG agreed Tuesday to pay $99 million to the SEC to resolve violations of internal controls and books and records violations of the FCPA. Credit Suisse also paid kickbacks of about $50 million for 2 bond offerings on behalf of state-owned entities in Mozambique. This corruption in Mozambique is now being played out in a series of courts, and this is one of the first settlements with the Department of Justice and SEC. The DOJ charged Credit Suisse with a criminal count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, but not FCPA offenses. The bank agreed to pay a criminal fine of $75 million after credit for amounts paid to the SEC. Credit Suisse also entered into a related settlement with the UK's Financial Conduct Authority of £147 million, or about $2.2 million, for serious financial criminal due diligence failings relating to loans worth over $1.3 billion. This is, of course, the Mozambique tuna boat case. So Credit Suisse continues to violate the law, continues to pay fines and penalties, and continues to operate. Next up, from the Wall Street Journal, the Elizabeth Holmes trial also continues, and we have more testimony from former Theranos employees about the fraud that they engaged in. Product manager Daniel Edlin says his job included scripted tours and decoy blood testing devices when investors came on site. So more evidence of the fraud of Theranos. Next up, in the sort of continued COVID world, General Electric has announced it will require vaccines for some 56,000 employees across the United States. They joined several other countries, American Airlines, JetBlue, and others. United and Delta come to mind. No word from Texas Governor Greg Abbott if he's going to sue GE or try to prevent it from doing so in the great state of Texas, where he, of course, has banned vaccine mandates because his supporters apparently don't like them. And our final story comes from Bloomberg on boardroom diversity and how it has evolved in the Me Too era. It looks at how women are represented on boards, what the California law did mandating this, an increase in board gender diversity, and how things have changed. Of course, other states, some have followed, but most have not. There is now a lawsuit against the California law claiming that it is discriminatory against men because it requires gender diversity on the board. So once again, the conservatives really just are trying to make sure that there are no women on boards because they don't think women should be on boards. But the evolution of board gender diversity is certainly welcome, and it certainly points to corporations that are much better run. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.